Oh,
Yeah,
we've had to change a few times. We're just
Nah,
gonna
it's
made it
all
work.
good.
yeah, I had a
Finally,
bunch of employees called in, man. I'm fucking exhausted.
you're exhausted. You got work.
Yeah, so I bought into an assisted living facility business.
Yeah.
So it's like caretaking, but I went and I got a few licenses and
Mhm.
certifications. But right now I'm the only one who's certified to do meds at the facilities. So I was passing meds at 3 different facilities and then had an employee just no call, former employee, no call, no show. So,
Yeah. Former
so,
employee for a reason now, right?
yeah, so I gotta go cover that shift. I'm
Yeah.
tired. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us. That must be a lot. How do you balance that in training?
I mean, well, like lately, I just haven't been training. Like, so for my last 4 fights, I just didn't train. Um, but now, like, I gotta should be fighting for a title for my next one. So I'm back in the gym and like just slow but surely get back into it. And then my girlfriend is like super hot, so I can't be that fat anymore, you know.
That's
So you
fire.
think your next fight will be bare knuckle?
Yeah. BKB, it'll be in the UK most likely. I'm not sure actually. They just said get a passport and they're working on it, so we'll see what happens. Uh, so yeah, this will be like my fourth passport. Sadly living in Albuquerque, there's my car's been broken into quite a few times, so
Oh my
I don't
God.
know.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, at this point, it's like, what are you even feeling? Like, there's nothing left to take, you know? So I got my
Yeah.
passport.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you're gonna pass for a 6'5" black man, but go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't think I could pass?
Nah, I mean, hey, in 2026, you can identify as whatever you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if we just go back to the beginning of your career a little bit, like obviously you didn't take the most like traditional path. You've fought in BKFC, fought in PFL, you've seen a lot of different things. How'd you first get into fighting? You just had a feeling for the violence. You were just a kid getting into street fights. Do you find an MMA gym or something? How'd you first get into it?
So I mean, like, I've always loved fighting. Like I've always loved fighting. But I was in like really academically inclined schools. There wasn't really a space for that. So a lot of that aggression I just put into sports. And it wasn't even like an aggression thing and being bullied or anything. I just like violence. And then let's see, playing sports. When I got to high school, I started wrestling. And that's kind of what like started everything. And that gym, I was going to the Disney duels between my senior year of high school and my freshman year of college. I went to the Disney duels, and the gym we trained at was an MMA gym.
Hmm.
And my private coach, I had a private coach for my junior and senior year for wrestling. Um,
Hmm.
and every time we were trained, it was usually at MMA gyms. So, like the first MMA gym I ever like was in was actually Sam Hoger's gym. Sam Hoger was like UFC one, I think. Like the Ultimate Fighter,
Wow.
Gee.
like the first Ultimate Fighter. He started his own gym. And that's kind of like what got me like interested. And then I would always watch fight. My problem was like I watch guys like I like to watch people do things that like I can't do. So I was always watching like Anderson Silva and guys like that. But it was all cool.
Yeah.
And I was like just a wrestler. And then in college, The second gym that I found was called Paradigm Training Center, and they were that was an MMA. That was the MMA gym we trained at for nationals for the Disney duels. And then I needed a place to train over the summer, so I called them up and asked if they had like a pure wrestling thing. And their wrestling coach at the time, they had Derek Waldrop. He's like a five-time Olympian, I think, and then
Yeah.
and
Wow.
Grant Johnson, who he wrestled at Boston College, but he All American. So I had those two guys. They're both bigger guys, so that's just kind of how I started, and then it was at an MMA gym. So part of the free membership that they gave me was coaching their wrestling team, or help coaching with the wrestling and stuff. So I was
Yeah.
already there, and then I started. I was like, well, if I'm going to be helping MMA guys with wrestling, I need to understand the basics of MMA so I can properly teach these guys. So I
Yeah.
just started doing that, and then I started sparring, and I was like, it's pretty cool. I like this, and just kind of took off. And then it was also like, because I would tell some of my college teammates that, and like,
Mhm.
on every team, like, yeah, it's a great camaraderie, but you got a couple haters. Like every team has a couple haters, and the haters on my team are super annoying. They were pricks. So they're just always talking shit. They're like, oh, you couldn't do that. You couldn't do that. And I'm like, hey, bitch, fuck. So I feel like I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I got
Yeah.
into it. It's
They get
really fortuitous.
yeah, they
That's
get to hey,
awesome.
you got to tell them, hey, watch me do it now.
Yeah, exactly. And they're all like fanboys now, too, which is cool. Like my homies on the team, they were always
I'm sh-
fans, but it's the best is when the haters are fanboys. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
that's awesome. On like the track of this conversation, like on when you got into the amateur scene, you were 4-0 as an amateur in Fury. Like, what was like a normal fight night like? Like, it's like you see in the UFC, there's a lot of traction towards it. There's a main card, undercard. How was like a normal fight night like compared to when you turned pro?
Um, it was weird, man, because like as an amateur, was it my first two fight? Like my first amateur fight, I was the first fight on the card, right? And it was crazy because I sold like over 100 tickets. So, and you know how it is, man. Things are small. Man. Fury was still big because Eric Garcia was like known for that stuff. But I'll never forget, man. It was at Humble Civic Center or Humble City Civic Event Center or something like that. It's a small venue, but it was pretty packed, and I was the first fight of the night. That was my first one. And as an amateur, the round only 3 minutes. So my first two amateur fights were like those were my longest MMA fights before I got to be much. It's hilarious because my first two went into the second round actually because they were 3 minute rounds. But then after that, I was fighting for amateur titles. They were title fights after
Mhm.
that. So my second two amateur fights were title fights. So I was the last fight of the undercard, which is still kind of like a mini main event type deal. Because some people are there, like it's
Yeah.
funny, and like we are coming up in the early MMA stuff. A lot of the people that go there aren't really, or a lot of people that you sell the tickets to, they're just there to support you. They're not really MMA fans. So when you're headlining or when you're the last fight of the undercard, like that's like the mini headliner because a lot of people aren't staying for the whole night. Because they're not really fans. They're
Yeah.
just there to see
Yeah.
their friend or the person that they're supporting do it. So, and it's weird because I mean they have a lot more access to you at those too. Because in those you're not in a big arena, like everyone's together. It's a Humble City Civic Event Center. So you're just sitting there going like, oh, you want some water, you got to go be around everyone else unless you stay in the staging area. But it gets boring in there. And then if you stay in the staging area, you got people coming in, they might have lost, they might be brought back there on a
Yeah.
stretcher. Like, it can mess with you. So it's different, man. It's definitely different because
Totally.
with those, you're really like right there with all the fans, with everybody that's there to support. Whereas as you go up, that's not really the case. Like even when I was pro fighting in, I think my last pro fight before really big stages was at the Golden Nugget in St. Charles, right? That place is so big, like, it's really easy to avoid five pins and stuff, right? But it's a
Yeah.
early amateur ones or those most regional circuits, you're like right there with the
Mhm.
people. Whereas at the newer ones,
Yeah.
like now when I fought UFC, PFL, whatever, like nobody could really interact with me until after the fight, because they're watching you the whole time.
Yeah.
Like
Totally.
they're like, yo, you got to be here, you got to be there. It's such a tight schedule, so that was different. It
Yeah.
definitely felt more authentic before you get to the big stage.
Yeah, for sure. And I just got a quick question for you. I got two friends that are fighting on CFFC this weekend and then the weekend after. They're both amateur MMA fighters. And I got to ask you if you have any advice for those guys on the amateur scene looking to make a name for themselves. One of them is their brothers, James and Jack Leto. They're one's an 8-2 amateur. The other one's like a 4-0 middleweight and a lightweight. They're both making waves on the regional scene. CFFC fought for belts before. Just if you have any advice for some guys like that that are looking to make their way.
Honestly, man, it's so entertainment driven now. Um, but at the end of the day, it still comes down to winning fights. That's it. So focus more on the fighting than anything else. Like, yes, you do need to develop a persona and all that stuff. And when you get to that point, you got to make sure that that persona aligns more closely with who you actually are than just trying to get clicks or get visibility because yeah, that'll get you there. That'll get you more opportunities for sure. But if it's too far away from your real personality, it's not sustainable. And eventually it does
Hmm.
have an impact on your performance. Um,
Yeah.
because it turns into a thing where you're performing 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Thank you. I appreciate that.
To shift kind of away from the amateur scene, you came on to the pro scene pretty quickly in LFA. You were 3-0, then right to Dana White's Contender Series. Did you always think it was going to take only, around a year to go pro? Like I watched the fight on Dana White's Contender Series. I watched that whole season, it was great. And like, what made you truly believe you can make the UFC and especially that early?
um, it was weird, man. The coaches or the people around me, they were always like, dude, once you go pro, they told me like from the second you start MMA to you get into the UFC, they were like, it'll be 2 years tops for you. Right? What they would always tell me. But I knew I was there because I was already training like I was there. I went straight from college and like in college, I was captain on the wrestling team. I was, ranked top 20 in the country. So like I was always training. Like in addition to
Hmm.
an NCAA collegiate lifestyle and doing all that, like I went to a military college. So my time was always just bam, 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 bam. Everything was on a schedule.
Hmm.
So I just carried that over. Like even so right after I graduated, I had an NFL tryout. Um, and part of that was I had to train and like it was a specialized facility. It was for guys like getting ready for the draft, either rehabbing or getting special tryouts. So I went there and those workouts started at 7 in the morning, which means and it was about a 45-minute drive from where I was living. So I already had to wake up, make sure I have proper nutrition, go do that workout. Right after that workout, I wasn't making money at the time, so I had a job. I was a loan coordinator at a bank. So I would go there, and then that was part-time. That was only 30 hours a week. So then on top of that, I'm like, well, if I want to maintain my free membership at the gym, I still have to go coach a few classes and do XYZ. So while I'm at the gym, I'm like, okay, well, after I coach, I can train. So I would do, a workout for that. Well, at this time, I'm still training for an NFL trial, but I'm doing stuff just to keep my wrestling skills sharp. Then I'm coaching
Mhm.
at a middle school, right? Coaching at a middle school full time, or I'm the head coach at a middle school, and I'm an assistant coach for their football team and a head coach for their wrestling team. Luckily for me, that school got out at like 2 o'clock every day. So
Mhm.
those practices were over by 3:30, 4 o'clock. Well, then at 4 o'clock, I gotta go get to the high school practices, right? So I'm going because I'm an assistant coach on the high school team. So I'm doing that. Then right after that, that's around 6:30. Oh crap. Now it's time for me to go do my private lessons with my clients or go to sparring, right? So I do all that. And then after that, it's like you're doing your bills and stuff. And I'm like, man, like, these 3, 4 jobs really aren't cutting it. Well, hey, let's go see it. And then my buddies worked in the nightclubs. Luckily for me, and I went in there. They're like, "Oh yeah, you're hired." And you start off as a bouncer. That's easy, right? I just go in, do about 4 hours. Nobody wants to fight me, so we're good. And then they're like, "Hey, you're pretty good at this. You should be our head of security." So now I'm head of security at a nightclub. 3 months later, I become the general manager of that nightclub. So at this point, I'm scheduled to where I'm like, oh yeah, the NFL thing. 6 months into that ain't happening. I'm like, I hate football. Like I love working out. I don't like football. I like watching it. I don't like playing it. So that's when I switched to
Yeah.
MMA, like training full time, like well, not full time, but I'm training for MMA. So at that point, my schedule is I wake up at 5 a.m. I drive an hour, go see my striking coach at 6 a.m. All right, I go 6 to about 7:30 or 5:30 to about 7:30, and, from there, I drive back, go do the loan coordinator job at the bank. Bam, I do that till 2, 2:30, then I go to the middle school practice, boom, do that. After the middle school practice, the high school practice. After the high school practice, now I'm over here doing my privates, right? My private clients, I'm training them, or I'm my class for the gym, or I'm doing their sparring session. Then right after that, oh, 4 days a week, I got to be at the club running this nightclub now. So it's one of those things. Like my life was going to the military college had already introduced me to being very particular about my time and scheduling it, running such a tight ship. So I think that's kinda what helped me because I was already training like a pro, or I could just adjust my schedule from, being very intentional with my time to just switching the intention and the focus of my time, and that helped me elevate a lot quicker.
Absolutely. I mean, that's incredible that you're able to balance all that. And so once you entered Dana White's Contender Series and like entering the UFC, once you got there, were you still maintaining a regiment just like that? Did that change at all?
That did change because at that point, I didn't have to work, I didn't have to do I didn't have to do the bouncing. I didn't have to be the loan coordinator at a bank. I didn't have to do those jobs. So once I did that, it was all just coaching. I'm just coaching now. And then the rest of my day though is
Mhm.
now training. And now that like it's my job to
Yeah.
train, it's super intentional with it. So at that point it switches from using those time slots to work to okay, hey, we're gonna keep the early morning striking session, right? So that. I still gotta drive all the way out there and do that. But then when I come back, now it's just a strength and conditioning workout or an MMA, like,
Yeah.
you a lift, whatever, then straight from there, I was in the Heights area at the time. Like, oh my god, I had, like, these 3 coffee shops that were, like, unofficial sponsors. It was great. I would just go spend time there.
Yeah.
But right outside of the coffee shops, there's this 3-mile trail, and granted, it's Houston, it's hot and humid, but this trail has got the
Yeah.
trees overarching it, so it's super shady, and, but it's a 3-mile thing, so at that point, between my training sessions, I would go there, open up Pokemon Go, and just walk for, like, 3.5 hours sometimes.
Yeah, bro.
God.
Can't complain with the Pokemon Go walks. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Oh, man, I was
And so
killing it.
and yeah, I mean that's when you know your roster of Pokemon, I'm sure it was stacked by the end of those walks.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Even to this day, like, I haven't played in a while. I got a girlfriend now, so it's just like, I'll get to play Pokemon. They be asking too many
Yeah.
questions, like, "Oh, we should be friends on there." I'm like, "No, you can't. You gonna fuck up. You gonna fuck up my spawns.
Yeah, they
I don't
don't they
want
don't
you. I don't want all that. You
they
messing up
don't
my
get how it
spawns."
works.
Yeah, you know. For the longest, people will be like, "What are you verified for?" And I'm like, "I'm a Pokemon master." I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, so once you got to the UFC, your first fight versus Chris De La Rocha, you're able to get your hand raised, your first UFC fight, making your debut, you get a finish. What was it like to experience first fight in the UFC? You get the finish, uh, you know, finish on Fox, the OG days of the UFC, national television. What did that feel like? How are you able to accomplish that? And what was that big stage like?
man, it was insane. Cause like being the biggest guy on your team, or like you growing up, I was always like one of the big guys, or like one of the more known people on my team. So it was always like a superstar, but like you take your best superstar experience and multiply it by about 1,000, and that's what it's like going in and fighting in the
Yeah.
UFC. Um, it was cool, man. I was actually the last ever, that was the last Fox card. I fought on the last Fox card. It was pretty awesome. Uh,
Ain't no one can take that from you. It ain't coming
yeah.
back either.
Yeah, he's definitely not coming back, I don't know, man, if, if UFC keeps getting more and more racist, they might merge back with Fox. We never know.
Yeah. Max.
I won't say racist. I'll say extreme. They're extreme. The views expressed are getting more and more extreme, and it's funny, man, because it's like I don't think these people are actually extremists. I think that we live in such a clickbait, like short attention span culture that in order to stay relevant, you just have to hit these buzzwords. And I hear some people talking or some of the athletes talking, and they'll start using words or phrases that they know are gonna go viral, or that they think are gonna go viral. And I'm just sitting there like, I don't think this person understands what those words mean. Like that's statement. That's
Yeah.
a nonsense
Yeah.
statement.
Also,
But
mhm. Yeah, and you never heard those people talk like that before either until they get in front of a camera.
exactly, that's why I was saying like your persona has to be some facet of your personality that you actually align and agree with. Otherwise, it's gonna fall apart.
Yeah, absolutely. And then so just speaking more on like your UFC experience, obviously walking out into the octagon, very few people have ever experienced the feeling of going from the back room, stepping into the octagon, maybe the nerves associated with that, the
Oh
excitement, and
man,
then going in
yeah.
there and putting it all on the line. How can you describe to me some of that feeling from the back room to getting into the octagon, and a feeling that many people will never understand.
See, yeah, it's so different for each person. But the difference is like when you're walking back there, like people don't understand, man. Like I love violence. Like I love violence. Like on a spiritual level, almost. I love violence. Like it's how I
Hmm.
feel most connected to humanity is through fighting. You know, um,
Hmm.
some people don't like I like to fight more than I like to fuck, dude. Like I like it. Like the favorite things in life, fighting, Disney movies, and sex in that order, you know? Like I love to fight. But even then, bro,
Yeah.
I get nervous. Like I would be such and this was early in my career. I was such a nervous wreck because at
Hmm.
that moment, that's when all the doubts start creeping in your head. It's like, damn, did I really do everything I could to give myself the best chance tonight? I'm thinking about it. Yeah, okay, I did. That's checked off. I'm like, damn, man, we both signed this contract that essentially says, like, if you die, you die. Damn.
Hmm.
Like, this really is, this dude could be going in there with the intention to kill me, you know? Like, that's
Yeah.
where your mind goes. That's where my mind goes anyway.
Hmm.
There's some
Yeah.
people that are thinking like, "Hey, man, did I do the dishes before I went back?" They're like, people are so different. But
Yeah.
that walk, especially at that stage of my life, that early in my career, it was just nerve wracking. I was excited, and like that's the worst part because as soon as you
Yeah.
step into the cage, it's like, yeah, all right, it's time. But that walk to the cage, man, it's like, damn, can't trip it. I can't trip. I can't trip. I do not want to fall on national TV. Then it's,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, okay. I don't want anything to happen between here and my walk. It's going to inhibit my performance, you know? So it's like, all right, I got to make sure
Yeah.
shoes are tied. I got to make sure, nobody throws a beer on me. I got to do this, that, and the other. Like in your mind, that's what you're thinking. Like, oh man, am I too many steps in front of my coaches? Are they gonna get there in time? Like, how long am I gonna have to wait before I can go in there? Oh shit, man. And it's like the dumbest stuff too. And then it's like, do I have my cup
Yeah.
on? Let me make sure I have my cup on. All right, mouthpiece, got it. Don't wear slippers. You don't want to slip out of the shoes. I don't know yet, but that's what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And then people are always trying to get your attention. Like everyone's trying to get your attention as you walk through the cage. And I'm like, man, I'm trying to get ready to like go kill somebody. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to think about you. I don't want to high five a child before I'm here ready to go do one
Yeah.
of the most savage things imaginable. So that's what it was now. But like now, the difference between then and now, like when I'm getting ready for a fight or about to walk out for a fight now, I'm just yeah, there's the moments of doubt. You're like, "Oh, man, like, did I really do like, man, what if this guy has his best night ever? Like, then what happens?" I don't know, like,
Yeah.
now I'm 34 now, so it's like, am I too old for this shit? Man, I don't know, bro, like, because I used to wake up, like, excited to train every day. Now when I wake up, I'm just like, "Don't breathe too hard. You might, you might catch a cold." You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. I got you. I'm feeling that. I'm getting older myself. So you know,
Yeah.
getting up there in age, you start to work out, you get sore in places you never been sore, start moving around, getting out of bed. I'm like, "Oh my god."
Oh yeah, I can only get out of bed one way, like to one side. If I try and get out on the other side, like I'm popping something, and now I'm gonna be walking funny the rest
Yeah.
of the day.
I'm getting hurt. I'm getting
Yeah,
hurt. Yeah, and absolutely, and not even not you were, safe to say like a budding superstar. 4 fights into your career, knockouts in the UFC. Very few people. I mean, you were on like that Bo Nickel kind of trajectory that we see now, 3-0, and all of a sudden you're in the UFC. That's not something we see all that often. And you unfortunately had to experience some loss at some point throughout their career, which is
yeah,
something that many fighters have to experience. So how were you able to cope with that loss, overcome it? And now look, I mean, you're 4-0 in your last 4 bare knuckle fights. You went to the PFL after your experience and run in the UFC as well. So you've had a lot of success after that loss. How were you able to overcome that?
Man, it comes down to identity. I do. I study psychology and like self help, personal development for
Hmm.
fun. But a lot of it comes down to identity, and especially for men. Like
Hmm.
for men, so often we get to this thing where it's like I am what I do. Our identity gets so wrapped up into that because that's kind of one of the last times we truly like feel like we belong to something, right? So at that point, my
Hmm.
identity wasn't fully fleshed out. I was just an athlete. All I am is a fighter. And if I'm not good at fighting, like what am I worth? And that's what that those streaks I think I lost 3 fights in a row because my
Hmm.
identity was completely wrapped up in the wrong place and I was valuing the wrong things. And then even in like the relationship I was in at that time, and she's not even a bad person. It wasn't good for me. I wasn't getting what I needed. Support. Well, like on any level, I wasn't really getting what I needed
Absolutely.
to feel the most. And I thought, well, hey, if I just keep winning these fights, if I start winning fights again, then that'll fix the relationship. And like that, bro,
Hmm.
in your head, like I can vocalize it now, but at the time it wasn't. I just had this like compulsive need to perform better so I would be seen as worthy in what I did, which would then, by the transitive property, make me hold worth as who I was, you know? And to overcome that, man, I had to reacquaint myself with myself, you know? And now, like a big turning point for me was at some point I was like getting super nervous. I was going out for a fight. I was super nervous. It was after UFC,
Hmm.
and I just sat there and I told myself like, bro, this is just what you do. Like why and I had to get back like, why am I doing this? I'm doing it because I
Hmm.
love violence and they pay me well for it. Like that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
That's it. Like that is it. I had to simplify it, get back down to it. It's like this is just something you do, man. This isn't who you are. At
Yep.
that time I was and that's when I changed, man. I changed the work I did. I went back to I was a behavioral health specialist or technician.
Hmm.
That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was working with kids, man. Kids with maladaptive behaviors. That's it. And getting to that point where I was just celebrated for my not necessarily ability, but for who I was, man. Just going to work and being celebrated for things outside of what I was known for helped a lot. It
Hmm.
showed that, oh wow, okay,
Yeah.
if I'm in something that's important to me and I truly love what I'm doing, the appreciation, the validation, all that stuff comes afterwards, right? So I had to, really rewrite my own programming in order to get past that. And it's funny though, like all my losses came like when I was in bad relationships. So I just stopped dating.
Yeah. Chalk it up to that. Chalk it up to that. And,
Yeah.
I do want to respond just to something that you said really quickly. You talked about not having yourself be wrapped up in that kind of identity, being like an MMA fighter, being in the UFC. I actually just graduated college a little bit ago with a psychology degree, and I played baseball in college as well. And that's something that we have to talk about a lot to our underclassmen who first experience any sort of struggle is because everyone, who they are. They're a baseball player. Then they think all of their value is wrapped up in being a baseball player. So if they don't perform, they don't think they're worthy of anything. So it's very wise hearing you talk about that, experiencing that as a professional athlete, and then learning from it and taking full circle. It's super impressive, that kind of self-help journey. And it'll serve you well, not only in fighting, but the rest of your life. I'm sure like the goal of life, pursuit of happiness, right? Enjoy your life. I'm sure it has led to wealth and prosperity in a bunch of ways, maybe not just monetarily, but also emotionally as well. You want to take it, Aiden? I don't know if he's if the
Oh, I don't.
service and out.
Juan, can you hear us?
Damn, we may have lost him. May have lost him. Ah,
All right, can y'all hear me?
yeah, we're good now.
We're back.
Yeah, sorry, dude. My phone overheated. It was
No
I'm in
worries.
New Mexico, quite ghetto.
What
But yeah, you were
was the
talking
last thing you heard?
about last thing I heard you were talking about being a college baseball player, speaking to the underclassmen about being wrapped up in identity as an athlete and the first time they start to
Mhm.
experience some hardship.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm even going to clip that little bit of our interview and send it back to my old team group chat, talking about development as a human being, and your journey self-help wise and dealing with failure, because failure is going to come at you in all aspects of your life, whether it be in your career, athletically, personally, in your relationships. And so it's
Yeah.
incredibly important that you're able to not have your identity wrapped up into one thing, but instead wrapped up into a series of things that you choose to be a part of who you are.
Yeah, and man, like that first hardship, man, it's hard, right? Because every like here's the trajectory of every like athlete, right? You start doing something, you kind of suck at it. You do it until you suck less, and then you're good. You start to get the recognition, it feels great, and then it's like, wow, this is who I am. But just going from being a high school athlete to a college athlete, you got to realize like at college, everybody was dirty, man. Everybody was filthy in high school. Everyone was like best in their team, city, state, whatever. So you're
Mhm.
going against other high level people. You're kind of average. You might be below average at first. Bust your ass. You keep
Mhm.
working. You keep working. You keep working. Then you get recognition, fame. Oh man, it's feeling good again. All right, I'm back. I'm me again.
Mhm.
And then for those that are blessed to take that next step into something else, or that's the end of it, if you're still chasing that recognition, chasing, the fame, the adoration, you start to look for other things to just do that. That's why you see so many athletes that start trying to cross over and do other weird stuff. You remember that time where it was like all these celebrity boxing matches, celebrity fights, people from
Yeah.
like random other sports trying to hit. That's because they're still chasing that, man. That's who they are. They need that. And with
Mhm.
fighting, it's different, bro. Because fighting, like, yeah, you can actually get hurt. Like, you can really mess yourself up
Yeah.
doing this.
Mhm.
So it's different, and you have to get past that crisis of identity, and it's really hard. It's especially hard for men because so often, like, all you're known for is what you do, right? But I mean,
Mhm.
for women too, if the attention and the adoration is what you care about, that's what feeds your sense of identity. You start to get to a point where you will do anything to maintain that. Prime example,
Mhm.
all these celebrities, they got caught up in being celebrities that are old now, right? I mean, they're older
Yeah.
now. They might have fallen off, lost some of that adoration, lost some of that attention. You see him starting to do like shit that's just like, I mean, hey, if you like it, I love it, but why? Probably,
Yeah,
Stacey
yeah,
Dash, man. Stacey Dash got an OnlyFans now. And she's like, come on, man. Like, and hey, there's a market for everything. I'm sure there's
yeah,
millions of people that are like, hey, I'm trying to see. Cool, that's great. But like, you start to understand it. Another one is like a lot of these on the female side of it, you see a lot of these female collegiate athletes that get noticed or they'll go viral, right? Because they're hot, man. That's society, man. Like they're hot, and then they get addicted to that attention. And for me, it's like I do this thing where it's like, oh man, from the second they go viral to when they start an OnlyFans, like that's what I want to know, because that's how you can tell who's really just about the attention, the validation from it. That's all that matters to some people, and it tells you a lot about who they are when it comes from that. And when I see that, I see an underdeveloped sense of self. If your sense of self is dependent upon other people, then you don't really know yourself.
yeah.
100%.
You're so wise using
Yeah.
words like sense of self too, and I'll let Aiden take away the next question. But
Yeah,
I could talk about this for forever.
it's very valid. As the odd man out here, I didn't play any sports after high school. The psychological part I never thought of, and it's super interesting. But it's funny you brought up the whole celebrity boxing. I worked for Jake Paul's betting company this summer, so I was like, saw that,
Yeah,
and I always was like, oh my god, I hope he gets knocked out. And then I ended ironically working there, and I was like, you know what? It's so valid. All these people just want to go famous, and the fact that boxing is a whole market for it is just incredible. But it was funny you said that. But kind of, basing off of this, like your stint after the UFC, you kind of went into two leagues that are so different, like the PFL's points. We were really curious to hear
yeah,
like what your thoughts were on that, and if that was in a way easier or better for the fighters, or what the main difference was about the PFL, and then obviously translating to bare knuckle, which is a totally same idea, but it just really is just pure violence. Bare knuckle fighting is insane. We kind of just wanted to get your thoughts on the
yeah.
two leagues.
So I mean, PFL, and the thing was, man, every organization I've worked for, I treated me very well, right? They're all great organizations, but you can see the values are different. Like and you can even bring in one championship to it. Like you look at one championship, that's a guy who really just loved the art, right? He loved it. So these leagues are, oh, you can go. Thank you so much. Um, these leagues, man, they're set up to really put the idea of fighter first. UFC isn't fighter first. Dana, I love the UFC. The staff was amazing,
Hmm.
but it's that one is a bottom line driven company, and that's probably why it's the most successful one, because that's what he values most, right? One, it's
Hmm.
more about the art. PFL, it was a really good blend of the two. I loved the point system because I finish fights, so it's like, hey, cool. I know my points are good, but I like that system was really good too. And then the reason I love bare knuckle, it's just, man, it's just violence, man. I told y'all I didn't train for my last 3, 4 bare knuckle fights because I'm just looking at them like, I know I'm a better athlete than you, one, and then two, I know that, like, what I love about bare knuckle is, like, no matter how many times you get knocked down, if you're willing to get up and keep going, they'll let you, right? If you can prove that you're cognizant
Awesome.
enough to fight, like, go for it. So I mean, I think my fight with Carmack, like, I hyperextended my knee in one of the first exchanges. I went down twice, and I'm not taking away. He did hit hard, but like I wasn't going down from the contact of that. It's like the physics of it. When you get hit, your legs, moving your legs is what absorbs that impact and what allows you to go and then transfer the energy back and throw your own, right? But Well, my knee gave out in that one. I was like, "What the hell?" So then it was just, "All right, cool." My nervous system was like, "Okay, you're damaged. Like you might die. This is life or death now." And like, so I went all out. But in the UFC, like that would have been classified a knockout. Like I would have lost. They would have said I was done, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's why I
Wow.
love one thing I do love about bare knuckle as opposed to the other ones is like, nah, like I want to keep going. All right, cool. They ask you a few questions, you can answer them cognizantly. Bet, let's go. So that's the biggest
It's
difference I've
awesome.
noticed. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and so I want to ask you just I got like 3 more questions for you. I'll hit you with a few and then I have a few rapid fire questions for you. But,
All right.
4-0 in bare knuckle, all KOs, and then, no training. How are you able to do that? Is Juan Adams just a violent guy, the king of the fights, king of bare knuckle?
Pretty much, man. It's I tell people all the time, man. Like I love violence, okay? And there's a dichotomy within my soul. Cause like I love helping people, right? I own a business where I help people. I help people feel valued. I help people feel valued at a point in their life where their quality of life is a little lower, right? But at the same time, you know, I think justice, is a core part of my being. And when I'm fighting, it's my way of dealing justice to humanity. You know what I mean? That's like I love that. I love violence. Like because everyone's met someone where it's like, I think the world will be a better place without you. And you can't do anything because of societal restrictions. But in the cage or in the ring, all that gets to come out. And I just love violence like that much. Like, it's weird, man, because when I go out, if people don't know what I do, they're like, or if somebody tries to challenge me to a street fight, like, most people start to get nervous or like amped up and like I just smile. Like I'm excited. I love this. Like I told y'all earlier, man, I like to fight more than I like to fuck, dude. Like I love that shit.
Yeah.
So so I'm like,
So
yeah, I
then
just love it.
do we wa- are we going to see we're going to keep seeing more of Juan Adams then doing bare knuckle work? What do we see for the future then?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately I do want to get back into MMA, but the big problem with MMA is everyone's like, oh, I'm the baddest motherfucker on the planet. Cool. Sign the contract. And like the few people that do
Yeah,
sign the contract, it's always 3 to 6 weeks before the fight. Oh, they have a training injury or scheduling conflict, whatever. Bare knuckle, no one has ever backed out of a fight. So that's the aspect I like more in bare knuckle than MMA. Like nobody's trying to protect a record.
yeah,
Like let's go, let's do this. So I mean, you will
yeah. Let's
see
just
more of that. I'm gonna be BKB's first ever super heavyweight world champion, and what I love about that is
let's
like
go.
if
There
you're
we
doing
go.
this, if you're doing this for fame, if you're doing this for recognition, if you're doing it for money, like to reach the highest level of any of that, you now have to go through me. And that just guarantees that I'm going to get the opportunity to engage in more violence and get paid for it. So I love
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. And so I gotta ask, I'm a little bit of a gambler on MMA Outlaw. I post some gambling content every once in a while, so some people may know me for that. And I gotta ask if you're a gambler yourself, do you ever hit the casinos? You ever throw some action on some sports or you stay away from it?
I do it a little bit, man. Like I've been on like prize picks a few times. My problem is like I get almost obsessive and like I just want to win, but I'm so analytical with it. I do a lot of like skill-based
Mhm.
gambling. So those games, like there's
Yeah.
games on your phone that like you can win money for you place high enough in them. Like I do a lot of those. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I'll put
Mhm.
in 15, $20 and see what I can run it up to. And I usually get to about it averages out to like about $100 a day. I can win on those games.
Yeah.
Love that.
Damn. That's that's awesome. And I gotta ask, during your time in the UFC or the PFL, particularly those larger organizations where, especially nowadays, I know potentially back then they weren't pushing gambling as much, but it's a huge part of it. They're throwing odds up there in between fights. Every time a fighter walks out, they're talking about this guy's the favorite. They're showing parlays up there. And so during your time in the UFC, were people within the back rooms, were they talking about gambling? Were fighters gamble? Because I know we had that whole James Krause little saga with the UFC and the gambling and the insider information.
Some were, man. Honestly, there were some people that talked about it. But the biggest thing is a lot of people don't know this, man. Fighters are a lot of us are head cases, bro. Like like saying the wrong thing can completely throw the vibe off backstage. So a lot of people like don't talk. I mean, there was one fight. I remember from my contender series fight. I was I used to have like panic attacks during fight camps or getting ready for fights, just because all I'm thinking about is everything that could go wrong, And
Yeah.
I'll never forget against T. I was never nervous until like the night before, the day before the fight. We're walking around Vegas and I'm nervous, man. And my coach is like, what's wrong? And I go, I don't know, man. Like, he's he's ranked higher than me, and like I know I'm better than him, but like, do the people that do these like do they know something I don't? Like, is there something about him
Yeah.
that like I don't know? And my brother, my younger brother, he gambles a lot. He was like, "Hey, let me show you something." And he showed me his bet slip, and he showed like how much of the favorite I was, and that just instantly calmed me down. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm not worried about it anymore." But yeah, like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's times, and my friends, I do have friends that bet a lot, and some of them are like, "Dog, it's like not even worth it to bet on you in this stuff because like you're such a heavy favorite. In order to make the bet really worth anything, you have to make it a parlay with like
Yeah.
two severe underdogs, and like it's just dumb. I don't. There's no point in putting you on my bet slip."
Yeah. That
That's
makes sense.
awesome.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's awesome to hear about. I know I'd love to hold a Juan Adams betting slip in that super heavyweight championship fight. I know I'll be looking for that line, making sure that I'm taking it. But we have a few rapid fire questions for you. If you can just give us, I'll ask you the question. If you can just give us a quick answer, and then I'll ask you one question to close it out, and you can leave all the viewers with a final message. But the hardest punch you've ever felt.
Oof. That's a tie. It's a tie. I think it's a tie for two reasons. Because the first guy, I just don't think I knew how to properly take a punch at that time. So I just like
Hmm.
stoned it. I was Bryce Ratani Co. It was like my second pro fight. Yeah, it was a counter like
Hmm.
I never it hit so fast. It was right on the eyebrow. I was like, what? That was a tough one.
Yeah.
And then finding Richard Carmack. That was my second bare knuckle fight with BKB, my third overall bare knuckle
Yep.
fight. And that dude,
Hmm.
he hit hard. That's the only dude I've ever fought that was heavier than me. And I get
Hmm.
why like young smaller guys don't want to spar with heavyweights. Now I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. So the hardest hitter you've ever trained with, someone you've been in the room with.
Ooh, Derek Lewis.
Derek Lewis,
Oh,
the
love
Black
that.
Beast. Easy. Easily, you understand why. The best
Yeah.
heavyweight in the world today.
Huh? What'd you say?
The best heavyweight in the world today.
Ooh. I'm gonna say myself. It's just how I feel about it. Like, yeah, I always feel like I'm the best.
Love
Absolutely.
that.
Makes sense, bro. You could go in
Yeah,
there and beat those guys now. I
nobody.
believe it.
There's a reason nobody wants to fight me. You know.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then I got to ask you, there's been a debate between these guys going for a while between John Jones and Tom Aspinall. Which guy do you prefer?
John Jones. Like
Jones?
Tom
You're from
Aspinall is
Albuquerque.
amazing. Yeah, Tom Aspinall is amazing. Like I've met him, super cool
Mhm.
guy, big man. Like he's surprisingly large. Like I'm a large human being, but like I sit next to him and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like one of my kind, you know. But John, man, people can say whatever they want about his personal life, who he is as a human, any of that. As a fighter, I mean, it doesn't get much closer to perfection. You know, like it's just he's so not only talented, but he works so hard. He's so disciplined. And he's so skilled that you
Yeah.
combine that with his natural talent and affinity for it. And there's a reason why you just don't bet against him. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Your favorite post fight meal?
Oh man, pussy. Oh,
Your favorite UFC memory?
oh, oh man. Favorite UFC memory, going back to the green room after my first fight. There was the food they had back there was amazing, dog. They had everything. All the stuff I couldn't eat during camp. I made the fattest ice cream sundae ever. It was amazing. All the sweets.
Yeah, I can imagine after the weight cut, that sweet it's have got to be good. Those sweets have got to be good. Your dream opponent in bare knuckle?
Uh, oh, oh man. I think that one I'm just gonna go with anyone. For my opponents, it's weird because I appreciate them all for different reasons. Like, if somebody can really challenge me and push me, like I do appreciate that, but I also don't like it because then, like, for a couple weeks after that fight,
Yeah,
I'm sore and I'm tired. You know, the guys that
yeah,
come in that think they're all that, and I knock them out in like a minute. Like, don't those are my dream opponents, man. I don't get paid for the hour. Like,
Yeah.
I like opponents that
yeah,
come
bro.
in and I can make a quick check out of, you know?
Yeah, you get paid a flat fee. The quicker you finish it, the more per hour, baby.
Exactly. And then I'm not injured and I can fight again sooner. That's how it needs to be.
Yeah. Is there any fighter, one fighter that you'd never want to fight, either because you're boys with him or you've trained with him for a while?
Yeah, Curtis Blades. That's one of my best friends.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Me and
Is there
Curtis are
anyone on the
brothers.
UFC? Keep going, my bad.
No, yeah, Curtis. We used to have the same manager, so I've been out to Colorado a few times to train with him, just helping each other through
Yeah.
camps.
Yeah, he's an absolute animal, an animal. That war with Josh Hokett was insane that we just got to see.
Yeah, yeah, that was intense. Now, what was your last
He's
one?
just a scrapper. But then was there anyone on the roster, the UFC or the PFL that you wanted to fight that you didn't get the chance to?
Yeah, UFC. I always wanted to fight Tai Tuivasa, and then just cause I mean he's a partier and like I'm a partier, I think we would fight and
Yeah.
get so drunk after. I think that would be fun. And then
Yeah.
in PFL, Honestly, I wanted to fight everyone in PFL. I wanted that $1 million, so I wanted everybody. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
More than
Anything for the
fair.
million. Anything for the million. And then I got the last question for you. When people look back at your career 20 years from now, what do you hope they say about Juan Adams?
Like, I hope that they think like all they think is like, yo, win or lose, that motherfucker always brought it. That's what I want you to think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with
That's
that being
awesome.
said, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to stop